Hey folks, Mr. MegaManFan here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know all the things to do. Today I'm finally trying out the mouse controls on the Switch 2. And of note, when you detach the right Joy-Con, you don't have to pull as hard as I did. It kind of jumped off into my hands there. Also, you're going to need to attach the included Joy-Con rail in the little bag that it came with. Once you've got it on there, you'll be able to slide the mouse around on the Joy-Con like a normal mouse. But without it, you won't have that flat surface you need to move it like a mouse. And speaking of flat surfaces, don't try to move it around on top of a plastic tote like I was just doing here. It won't work very well. I ended up moving the Joy-Con around on the floor, and then I got the mouse-like performance I was hoping for. Thankfully, I have hardwood floors in this room, which helped out quite a bit. Also, it's not exactly intuitive that you're going to end up using the Joy-Con itself as a scroll wheel, but where you would put your thumb on the thumbstick, you're going to be using that as your scroll wheel. It will scroll up and down through any menu list, or at least any one that's in Nintendo software, like a scroll wheel on an actual mouse would, except instead of being in the middle, it'll be on the left where your thumb is. And your clicker is actually your shoulder buttons on the top. This all seems kind of strange at first, but you do get used to it after a little bit. It's not as bad as you'd think. It's just not as intuitive as you would hope if you're a longtime mouse user on computers, PCs, laptops. You're going to be a little perplexed by it at first. And speaking of perplexed, I was not sure what software I had on here that would be mouse compatible. I looked through my entire list of everything ported from my Switch to my Switch 2, and nothing was jumping out at me as a mouse controlled game. So I ended up going into the shop itself to look around at the options and see what was available there. Now I know what you're thinking, and I was thinking the same thing myself. There is that Welcome Tour software that they have the unmitigated gall, I would say, to charge $10 for, when it really should have been included as a downloadable with the purchase of a Switch 2, whether you got the regular or the Mario Kart World bundle. If it's designed to show you how to use the features of the Switch 2, it should be included with the Switch 2. When I bought a Steam Deck, they included a game that showed you how to use the Steam Deck for free. Well, not Nintendo. But then, as I was looking at the shop to see whether it was mouse supported or not, and here's another poor attempt to use it on top of the plastic tote. It just doesn't work no matter how hard I try. Something occurred to me. Cyberpunk 2077 is the only Switch 2 and Switch 2 only game that I have a physical copy of. And I was looking through it on the eShop, and there are the mouse controls in the menu. So, naturally, it occurs to me I don't need to spend $70 on the digital version when I already have the physical version. That would just be ridiculous, right? I just need to take the shrink wrap off my one and only physical Switch 2 game, put it in the Switch 2, and then I'll have something to use the mouse control with, and I won't have to pay $10 for the Welcome Tour software. This will be my welcome tour. Cyberpunk 2077. So, Mr. MegaManFan, I hear you asking, why did you choose Cyberpunk 2077? Well, it's easy. It's not a game key. They actually put the data for the physical game on the cartridge that comes inside the box. And I want to own physical games. I don't want to own a download that I have the right to download again later when that server might not be available later on. I want to own the actual thing on the actual cartridge and not a license to download or re-download it on any Switch that I put it into. I mean, it is nice in some respects that a game key enables you to sell a digital game used and somebody else can buy it and then download it, and it does make it transferable but it also means you don't really own it. You own the right to a download. This I actually own. I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying game keys are wrong or that they aren't useful for purposes or that they may be applicable to your situation. But one other problem that I see with game keys is storage space. I have a 256 gigabyte micro SD express card, and that fills up pretty fast. And if all of your games are game key downloads, you're going to run out of space even faster than I did. So I don't recommend it for that reason, but your mileage may vary if you have a larger storage micro SD card. Another thing that's not intuitive about the mouse controls is that Cyberpunk 2077 would not acknowledge it until I had both of the Joy-Cons detached. Even though you're only using the right Joy-Con as a mouse, it wants you to detach both of them before they'll sync. Go figure. And last but not least, you're actually going to have to go into the menu in the game and turn on mouse controls as you see me doing here. Once you do that, then the right Joy-Con will work like a mouse in the game. It's not by default. You have to actually activate it. But it is really nice when you do because you can use the mouse to select things, to look around, to play the game as though you were playing it on a PC. So I do dig it. I think this is a good way to experience the game. And I do think the mouse control feels really smooth when you have it on an appropriately hard and flat surface. It's just, well, it takes getting used to. That's all I can say about that. It's it's a little strange at first, but it's an innovative idea. And that's what I'm looking for from the Switch 2 is new and innovative ideas that take what the Switch already did and iterate it and do something different or unexpected or even more powerful than the Switch did. And this is one of those ways that the Switch 2 actually delivers on that promise. Not every game is going to have mouse support, and not every mouse-supported game is going to be as effective as I find it in Cyberpunk 2077. Your mileage will vary compared to mine. And I would also say in the future, there might be a better way to use it as a mouse other than the Joy-Con rail, maybe some sort of 3D printed grip that gives it a more mouse-like feel. I don't know if that's a possibility. I don't even know if Nintendo would release something like that themselves. Of course, it wouldn't be 3D printed if they did it. It would be plastic injection molded of some kind. But all in all, I like the mouse feature of the Switch 2. I didn't get to demo it ahead of time, so this is literally my first experience with it. I'm not an influencer, and I didn't go to any Nintendo World events, so I'm trying it right here in this video, and now I'm redocking the Joy-Cons so that I can return to the main menu and wrap this video up. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know all the things to do. And as always, thank you for watching.